Hello and welcome to my Pillars of Eternity Lorethrough. This is session 41, being recorded on June 24th, 2023. So last session, big story moments. We were in this room over here, this hearing room with Duke Avar, who was trying to decide if Animancy was going to be outlawed or not. And we argued our case for Animancy to not be outlawed, but to have a little more restrictions placed on it. But it ended up not mattering because Thaos, or someone whose body Thaos' soul inhabited, came into the room, inhabited the Animancer that was fighting for Animancy, had that Animancer kill Radric, and then he himself was killed, and then Thaos left. We ran into him right about here last time. We know that he has been trying to make Animancy look really bad, and he's definitely succeeded in that. That's what he did over here. That's what he was doing with Cadman Azo. And yeah, now we have to go after him. We have been told that Lady Webb needs us to find her, especially knowing the past between Thaos and Lady Webb. They were in love, or at least Lady Webb was in love with Thaos at some point. I think that catches us up. We left on a bit of a cliffhanger here. And we are still in the Ducal Palace, but it's time to go try and find Lady Webb. But before we do that, at the end of the last session, this quest was completed, so I wanted to read that. Oh, it wasn't that the quest was completed. Oh, Palagina just finished escorting Nairi the Deft Hand, so that's not a big deal. Okay.
Course.
Don't go out there. There's rioting in the streets. Oh, everything's on fire. I think this is kind of normal when something like the assassination of a duke happens. We're going to Brackenberry, which is down this way. Stand down. We don't want to fight you. The stones of this ancient tower have been blackened by centuries-old fires, surrounded by a patch of wildflowers. It looks like a memorial. Thought maybe that would have updated, since everything is on fire now. A dozen's martyr. They're in league with the Animancers. Can't go into the Crucible Keep. The whole city is acting like this. Oh, there's dead people in here. Very sorry that you're dead. But you're not using this money anymore. That affects my reputation. I have a deceptive 1 now. Why? Is it because I was stealing those things? I'm gonna check and see. Sorry for the reload, but I just want to see if I'm still deceptive at the beginning of Dunrid Row. Okay, let's see. Yeah, I'm deceptive. I wonder why I'm deceptive.
All right, then.
Okay, we're back here again. Um, I went around already and got all the money I could. We were going to go upstairs to see Lady Webb. There's a soul over in Lady Webb's bed. So I'm thinking the worst right now. Lady Webb lies still in her bed, an ornate cushion propping her back upright. The blood pooled beneath a gash in her chest is tacky and is nearly dry. A shattered glass rests on the floor beneath her dangling hand. You can feel the faint aura of her fading essence in your ken. You reach out for it. You make contact and are immersed in a torrent of sensory input and experience. When it calms, you find yourself in the same room, lying in bed with a glass of brandy in your hand. Through the walls from the streets outside come the sounds of screams and shattering glass and the cacophony of an angry mob. You take a sip, and it warms your gullet. Across the room, the door opens behind a patient, steady push. Into the room walks Thaos, the floorboards creaking beneath deliberate steps. You wait until the last of the brandy has trickled down your throat before you speak.
I was a fool to think I could tame these people.
You came closer than most.
A fine epitaph.
No worse than any.
You're concentrating, focusing with all of your energy. It feels as though you are diving into a stone wall over and over, but it cracks suddenly, unexpectedly, allowing the vaguest wisp of a thought to leak through.
What's in Twin Elms?
Did you pull that from my thoughts?
I've had time to practice.
I'm surprised here, probably because Thaos was never able to, or Lady Webb was never able to see into Thaos's mind before when they were actually together.
Ah.
He walks over to a small table and raises a half-empty brandy bottle to eye level. He seems to approve of the selection and begins to reach for an empty glass. This brandy is probably the brandy that Lady Webb was drinking for celebratory purposes, and she was going to share with us, but obviously it didn't turn out that way. Also, I wonder when this happened. Did Thaos come in here with his leaden key, kill everyone in Hadrat House and Lady Webb before he went to the Duke? That would make more sense. Didn't seem like that much time. But since we saw Thaos run out after the Duke had died and everything, I think it makes even less sense for him to have run here and done all of this before we got here.
I was saving that for someone.
That's for us.
Pity. You know this is how it has to be.
He replaces the brandy bottle on the table with care before approaching the bedside. He sits on the edge of the bed next to you. His words come freely, absent of all doubt. He draws a long, curved knife from his belt, smeared with fresh blood. With his left hand, he gently pins your sternum as he raises the knife in the other, its point dangling above your heart.
Prove it.
Thaos slips the knife between your ribs and pushes it through. Layers of tissue separate with brittle, papery stiffness, and blood wells up around the blade. A pulse of reflex causes you to drop the glass to the floor, and you hear it shatter. With the last of your strength, you take his knife in both heavier hands. You take his knife hand in both of yours, a question radiant in your mind. For an instant, to your great surprise, the pathway to his mind is left open to you, unguarded, and the answer comes, simple, cataclysmic in its reordering of your thoughts. As Lady Webb, you feel as though you have an answer you've searched for all your life, but in your own mind, her understanding lies just beyond your reach. You look at Thaos with the wide eyes of someone seeing for the first time, and draw your last breath as a black, velvety darkness descends over you.
Smoke rises above the city walls in billowing plumes that blacken the sky like a storm. Behind the walls, the riots rage on. Known patrons of Animancy are forced into hiding as looters ransack their estates and make off with their possessions. Animancers are torn away from their families and dragged from their homes to be stoned to death in the streets. Word had spread immediately that Duke Avar had been assassinated, and that an Animancer was to blame. The city wasted little time in exacting revenge, and little effort into evaluating guilt. In the center of it all, Brackenberry Sanitarium burned. And down the lane, Hodred House, the last bastion of stability in the Deerwood, had fallen silent. Now safely outside the city gate, your path points eastward to Twin Elms, where Thaos is bound, for reasons that remain mysterious as the leaden key itself.
Okay. So Defiance Bay is burning and crumbling. I feel like this is a little bit unfortunate, as if you saw the last session, then you saw me really struggling to make some of these decisions and making sure I was making the right decisions. But in the end, none of that ended up mattering, and I don't know what to think about this. I really like that the game had me so involved that making these decisions during dialogue was like a difficult choice for me. I love that. I don't love that it doesn't seem to matter what I choose there. Thaos is going to come in, take control of the Animancer, kill Duke Avar, and Animancy is going to be blamed for everything. I could be wrong about that. I haven't done countless playthroughs to see all the different ways that we can go through this, so I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but it just seems to me like it didn't matter what the choices we made during that dialogue was. It was just that was going to happen regardless what we said. Okay. Oh, we can't even go into Defiance Bay. The floods have receded. The pass through Stormwall Gorge is open, meaning we can go to Twin Elms now. Get some taxes. Finally, even the villagers are better than this. Stay out of the catacombs. They're more dangerous than usual lately. So the Justiciar doesn't have anything new to say. So yeah, Defiance Bay is completely blocked off to us now. As you cross the bridge, Aloth draws up beside you. The fires at Defiance Bay cast a shivering, flickering light across one half of his face. The other is in darkness.
Please stop. I need to tell you something.
Go ahead.
I have not been entirely honest about my motives for traveling with you up to this point. When I finished my training in Adir, I was introduced to an organization. All I knew was that they were opposed to the unchecked spread of Animancy, and that they could guarantee me postings far away from the Seathwood my father and his Earl. At that time, it was enough. In the early years, I thought of them as many things. Hooded men, prudent teachers, the leaden key. Their rules were strict, but their guidance was clear. I sincerely believe they wanted to keep Kith from the folly of their own foolish ambitions. I came to the Deerwood a little over a year ago. My orders were to gather information on Animancy in the region. A senior contact met with me every few months to receive my reports and issue new leads. She sent me to Gilded Vale to keep an eye on events surrounding the local lord, but I lost track of her shortly after that. I don't know if she was reassigned, killed, or sacrificed the way you saw. At the time you met me, I'd been on my own for a couple of months.
So Aloth was a leaden key spy. You knew I was coming.
I couldn't have. I'd been out of contact with my superiors for months. I needed some kind of direction. And after that scrape with the locals, I was ready to get out of town. But then you mentioned the hooded figures in the machine, and I was sure you were on the trail of the leaden key. And I was correct in a way. What we found wasn't what I expected. I knew the leaden key was trying to stop Animancy, but I didn't realize how far they'd gone. Murder, sabotage, abandoning entire districts to shambling horrors. And now the whole city is up in flames. I'm still not sure about Animancy, but I know I've been following the wrong master. Please, accept my apology, and my service. Let me fight with you to stop Thaos.
I forgive you, Allah, but I want you beside me, not behind me. I'm not asking you to trade one master for another.
That would be an honor.
His voice is solemn and quiet. Let's see if we can discuss a few more things with him. About your parents. He looks at you cautiously. Yes? Was your mother gone so often? Or why was your mother gone so often? She was invited to join a Hemneg, and with a landed thane when I was very young. His estate was a 5-day ride from our home in Seathwood, so that was part of it. He gives you the smallest of frowns. The real issue, however, was my father. Despite his initial agreement with the arrangement, father was never happy with it. He would hound and harangue my mother when she was home. He wanted to know whether she was intimate with the thane, and no matter how many times she swore she wasn't, it was never enough. As you can imagine, that led to her coming home much less often, even though she still supported us financially. Let's see if I can find any mention of a Hemneg in the guidebook. So a Hemneg is a ceremonial marriage in the Edir Empire, often between a human and an elf. So because humans, or because you can't actually have children in a interspecies relationship, at least not that I know of, the marriages between humans and elves were mostly for show, for ceremony, probably for some kind of transaction or agreement or something like that. And it seems like Aloth's mother was in one of these things, and at first his father was supportive of it, but then he grew jealous over time. So that's what was happening over in the Edir Empire, where Aloth comes from, where the Seathwood is. Sounds like your father had a problem with his temper. He had a problem with my mother's Hemneg. Even though they agreed upon it long ago, that the financial benefits would be considerable, that it was a little different from his role as the Earl's steward, it aided him, and so he drank and raged. When she was home, he raged at her, and when she wasn't, he raged at me. More than anything, he wanted me to become an arcane knight in the service of his Earl. I think he felt this would validate his chosen career and master. He was a firm man, as you saw, but in the end, I became a successful wizard, due in no small part to his strictness. Oh, he can actually tell us what a Hemneg is. A ceremonial marriage between folk and elf. Because the Edir mainland has historically been split between the two races, we may have institutions that are designed to normalize relations. Our monarchy is headed by folk, but an elven consort rules alongside the reigning Farkening or May Queen. This is the most prominent example of Hemneg. In many cases, a Hemneg allowed two households to pool resources. Among the aristocracy, Hemnegs consolidate power. Sometimes, as in my mother's case, a Hemneg is a means for a noble to add another administrator to his or her household. Consorts are received with almost the same level of respect as their noble counterparts, which can be extremely useful. Of course, Hemnegs are sometimes used to sanitize an extramarital affair, he shrugs. I don't know that it's really any better, but it seems to satisfy common notions of decency. And elf and folk unisons are sterile, which no doubt eases some concerns. That's all I really wanted to know. Thank you, Aloth. Now do you understand a little bit more about Isilmir? He wrinkles his nose. No thanks to that Animancer. My spleen? Black bile? Come on. People like her shouldn't be allowed to practice Animancy. Yeah, that black bile thing was a little ridiculous, wasn't it? But that's the whole problem with the field. It's all based on speculation and experimentation. Nothing stops a bunch of quacks from profiting off the ignorance of the masses. You show people a shiny gadget in the hands of an expert and they'll believe anything. Perhaps. Animancy has its uses, but it's hard to say whether those outweigh the dangers. It's too decentralized. There's no one to keep the practice in check, no uniform principles or guidelines. Putting that much power in the hands of a single authority is no better. He raises an eyebrow. It's not a perfect solution, but it's better than the chaos we have now. How exactly did you come to join the Leaden Key? As it is often with such follies, I was young and directionless. The Leaden Key promised some of the structure I was lacking, and they offered me a future far removed from service to my father's Earl. Animancy is, possibly, even more controversial in Edir than it is here. The practice has been outlawed for 600 years, but Prohibition has a way of breeding curiosity. The success and relative acceptance that Animancy has found here and in the Vailian Republics spurred a renewed interest in Edir. The Leaden Key began recruiting more aggressively, and I was in the final period of my training when one of my instructors reached out to me. He shrugs. As I said, it was a welcome departure from my father's plans, and after seeing a few of my colleagues abandon their studies in magic to pursue Animancy in the Republics, I was convinced that something needed to be done to stop the spread. That's all. A little more history on Allah there, who seems to have had a very tragic past. Okay, so what's open to us now? Twin Elms is not yet. Let's go to Stormwall Gorge. See if we can open a path from Stormwall Gorge to Twin Elms. This is where the, see if, what's over here. This is open now. An Adra disc is weighed into a shallow depression in the rock. Runes glow from its surface. So someone used it. I just want to go check and see what's over here.
You should see this.
First loot that. Then go check and see what's over here. Why isn't it letting me? That's weird. Yeah, there's nothing over here, so we probably have to go into those ruins. Yeah, why is this not working? It's very weird. And it says these are Rhemen, the name of the ruins here. The Ingwithan symbols are worn and faded, but the words strike a familiar chord. Duty before self. Stone head. You hear grating and grinding coming from the stone head above you. The chips of Adra and its eye sockets glow bright green. A voice, deep and resonant, echoes from the stone mouth. What begins as a garble of language resolves itself in your own mother tongue. There is no truer blade than essence forged in bronze. Turn twice to the left and prepare your soul for its reckoning. Turn twice to your left. The stairs have collapsed, leaving a long drop to the floor below. Look below. The lower floor is dark, but you see puddles of water and fungi growing on the stone surfaces. Anchor a grappling hook to the edge and climb down. You secure a grappling hook to a cleft in the broken stairs and toss a line down. As you slide down the rope, the rushing of water rumbles in your ears. It sounds as though the lake from the gorge is still draining from in some distant reservoir. Suddenly, a violent tremor rocks the cavern, and you feel your grip loosen from the rope. Kana's hands release their grip on the rope, and Kana plummets, landing face first on the wet floor. Poor Kana, something always happens to him in these. You reach the bottom, your feet splashing in a puddle of water. Okay, can we go back up? Yeah, looks like it. Still Rhemen. Let's see what's up here first. Dare wants to talk to us.
Say what you want about Dear Woodens, but they haven't met the problem yet that they couldn't solve by killing some scapegoats.
He flashes a hollow smile. You fight for people because you see something there deserves defending. Even more so because you trust it sees you too. Then you turn around and they do something like this and the person who made you want to help them is gone. You fight for people. Okay, I want to read this again. You fight for people because you see something there that deserves defending. Even more so because someone you trust sees it too. Then you turn around and they do something like this and the person who made you want to help them is gone. I have no idea what he's talking about. He's talking about Lady Webb, maybe? I don't know. They're doing what they think the gods want of them. It's nice that they mean well, but how can organized murder be their best guess? Although, come to think of it, maybe they're just following Widewind's example. He was purging his own long before Deerwood got the idea. Only he was purging because they weren't Diathasian enough. Never thought I'd find myself missing the hospitality back home. Okay.
And what does the flame reveal?
It said turn left twice. Crystal Eater Spiderling. The spectre. Here comes this again. It's really annoying. The stone faces Audra's eyes glow, and a voice rumbles from its open mouth. The past is the hilt of a weapon. The true warrior grasps it and knows his strength. Speak the quality that defines you. I bring people together. I'm at my best when working alongside my allies. So it is with your power. A stone symbol burns on the wall behind the stone head.
Of course.
So I wonder if it would have been different depending on my answer. There were 4 different responses there. Ooh, oh. Sounds horrifying. Ah, because you have a Changuilla here. Head says, approach and speak your will. Small white stones bloom from the rock. They all feel firmly fixed in place. But there's a hollow where one appears to have been removed. Ooh. So someone took a stone out of the place here. These all have like a kind of symbol on them. As a green light spills from the relief's eyes, you hear another deep, rough-edged voice. Desire is the aim of the soul. It is perfect purpose and direction, the sharpest point of a blade. Speak your ambition that your soul may strike. I would inspire those around me and lend my strength to our common purpose. So it shall be. A symbol glows to life on the wall. It pulses with light, smoldering against the lichen-covered wall. A vessel of flesh may house a soul for years, but a vessel of bronze will house a soul for generations. Enter the water and choose a vessel of stone.
I shall be quiet as a calm sea, which is not very quiet. Been poisoned.
You're not getting through me. That's it.
Symbols here catch the light from the braziers. All honor to those who give themselves for the glory of Engwith. The pale stones around the room look dull and lifeless. Oh, all these white stones are here.
All right, then.
Alright, I keep coming in here and someone calls me a thief. I guess that's supposed to happen, though.
Most inconvenient.
You're not getting through me.
Leave it to me.
You feel an unwelcome crawling sensation in your head. A high-pitched ring overwhelms your senses and is accompanied by an angry utterance. Invader! Thief! The voice is alien and fierce, jolting through your mind like lightning. Needles stab at your brain with every syllable, but vanish abruptly along with the words. The ring in your head is gone.
Brave does not believe.
Let's see if there's a bestiary entry for crystal eater spiders. Seldom seen outside of the most remote locations in Arglanfath, the fabled crystal eaters are enormous and powerful, possessing magical abilities some wizards believe have been developed through the consumption of Adra and enchanted gemstones. In addition to their ability to raise a field of deadly crystal spikes, the venom of a crystal eater will temporarily turn a victim's flesh and blood to stone. Subsequent attacks by the crystal eater on the petrified foe are quickly fatal. Interesting, so magic casting. Spiders.
All right, then. I'll see what I can find.
A cylindrical hollow, scarcely wider than the shaft of a weapon, runs through the center of this pedestal. The serpentine symbols and icons of Engwith engraved into the floor resolve into words in your mind. The warrior shall call forth 2 witnesses, and they shall take up positions upon the emblems that bear testament to the character of his soul. The warrior shall ascend the dais, soul vessel in hand, to undergo transference. Bearing his soul vessel and a weapon with the heart of Adra, the warrior may then approach the urn. In this way he shall fashion an arm worthy of his skills and ambitions. Okay. So this seems to be some kind of treasure hunt of sorts. I think I have this area mapped out. What's down here? This large tunnel curves underneath the floor and continues to the east. It's blocked by glistening ropes of webbing that you might be able to slide past. The walls beneath the webbing feel weak and crumbly. With the proper tools, you might be able to widen the passage. Widen the tunnel with a hammer and chisel. We actually just found a hammer and chisel on one of the bodies in the other room, too. You find a weak point in the rock and hammer at the walls of the passage. The brittle stone crumbles away. Within minutes, you've created enough room to slip through the tunnel. As you clear the passage, the needle-like voice digs into your skull once more. Infiltrating, pursuing. You shall not have it. You hear a hungry chittering. Now, feed. Skittering creatures with gnashing mandibles pour from the walls. Okay. Can I go down there now? Sticky threads of webbing dangle from the mouth of the tunnel. The passage through it is clear enough. Into the tunnel.
Brave does he not believe.
Okay. Oh, Skynet died really quick. Oh, she didn't die. Or did someone raise her?
What?
Yeah, Durance might have casted his revive spell there on his own. So this is over off to the right of the map here. We could not get to this area from this room, but I guess that tunnel underneath that room got us here. Scattered crystal crunches and tinkles underfoot.
Let's see what lies this way.
Green spiders. Nuridak. A robed, gangling creature lurches towards you when you feel something needling at your brain again. The screeching hiss that invades your mind is edged with rage. Digging and ferreting animal. It pauses, its mouthpiece is clacking. When its words fill your mind again, they're tempered with fear. My legacy. It clutches an egg-like stone in its spindly fingers. The white stone glows with life, and you feel a presence inside. The creature notices your interest. For the colony, it cocks its head. Animal calm, peaceful, yes? Its thoughts echo back at you from within the stone. It occurs to you that a piece of the creature's soul is somehow housed within it. Oh. What are you doing with that stone? Legacy, colony. Its segmented mouthparts scrape together. Young are always few, slow to hatch, fragile. The creature indicates itself with a hairy appendage. Last of colony, soon to die. It draws the stone closer to its narrow chest. Long dead animals put spirit stuff in metal. It points behind it. It keeps spirit stuff in stone. Takes new colony. Colony alone is weak, young, frail, empty of wisdom. But two colonies together survive. Make strong colony. It strokes the stone. Need legacy to guide new colony. Keep it strong. Go, and may there be peace between our kinds. Its black, unblinking eyes stare back at you. Warm relief gushes into your mind. Knows peace and gentleness it does. Nidek, go. Bring legacy. Many thanks. Okay, so we just let it go, and these spiders are fine with us right now. So let's see. Yeah, it didn't enter anything in the bestiary here. So let's look this up in the guide. So the creature we just spoke to is called a Vithrak. They seem to me very reminiscent of mind flayers in D&D, but they, as you can see, they can be reasoned with, they can be talked to, unlike any mind flayers I've heard about in D&D anyway. They aren't exactly like them, though. They just kind of seem a little bit like them. So I'm going to read the bestiary entry from the guidebook here. The Vithrak are extremely rare, very dangerous creatures with natural cipher abilities. They are mostly humanoid in shape, slightly taller and thinner than humans, but with horrific fanged spider-like heads. Similarly to spiders, they are capable of spinning silk. Instead of webs, they use this skill to fashion their very intricate and fine robes. Males and females are indistinguishable from each other. That's probably just for us as folk. They are primarily spellcasters and mental manipulators like ciphers, though they also attack with their fangs when forced into melee combat. Despite their extreme intelligence and power, Vithrak are not a major force in the world due to their extremely low birth rates. Given that their arachnid appearance, it's no surprise that Vithrak have traditionally used spiders as companions and minions. Though they are highly intelligent and socially organized, little is known about their culture as they are rarely encountered and hostile to outsiders. Vithrak's psionic powers allow them to communicate mentally with one another. Like many social insectoids, their society includes a variety of specific roles, including scouts and defenders. While their low birth rates are likely responsible for their hostility toward other races, they have also made the Vithrak highly altruistic when it comes to their own kind. They will defend their nests to the death. So a race here that is, I don't know if we can say that they're like in trouble of extinction or anything, but because they have low birth rates, they've never been able to like really start any kind of true civilization in the world. But they are still very powerful. They have cipher-like abilities, and we just ran into one, so that is very likely one of the only Vithrak that is in this area. I don't know if we run into any more in this game, but I wanted to make sure I address them here because I think they are a very interesting race. The first time you come across them, you think that they are going to be strictly evil, but they are obviously not that. And even when they do kill, it seems like they are just defending their homes. So it seems more out of desperation that they kill. And when they do, they are very powerful, however. So I feel good about my decision to kind of just let him walk away. Or her. This is Cladhaliath. This bronze spear appears to have been crafted with great care. Despite the weapon's age, the point is remarkably sharp. Oddar details line the grip, and runes are carved into the shaft. You feel the Oddar core running through the weapon. like we should be able to do something with that weapon here, but I don't know. I don't know. Alright, let's see what a knight, battle axe, sword, morning star, crossbow. Oh, so not a spear. Oh well. Okay, so I guess I would have had to kill that Vithrak there to get the stone that he had in order to enchant this weapon here. Oh well, that's okay.
Slow and silent.
Down in the second level now. Actually, I think I should rest. Okay. Main Pugra.
Raised up.
Okay, so those Wicked Briars did a lot, and that crit must have been on Kana, because I saw him lose a lot of health almost immediately. Some Awakened Adra.
I'll take a look.
See now what the flame has shown us?
Secret entrance here with Glenfathan Adraswen. Wow, this is a pretty good one. Amulets are most often... Nope, it doesn't say anything special about it here. Troll down here. I know that
Getting through me.
charm and dominated is good, but he keeps getting charmed, so it's a little bit annoying there. Okay.
Braved out Philothili.
Souls bound in eternity. These bones are partially corroded and they're coated with thick slime. What is this little... some kind of pillar here, but it looks like there's some kind of control or something on top of it. Probably not.
Keeping an eye out.
Still want him to disarm this.
What?
Get it? Yes. The second time we've run into a place here where sporelings have laid traps. Amulet of health, plus 15 max endurance. Yeah.
Keeping an eye out.
Souls bound in eternity. So let's take a look at this here. So a bunch of ruins on the wall here, or pictograms or something, hieroglyphs. And both of these things say souls bound in eternity. Yeah. I wonder if this is some kind of burial rite or something like that. Like they send them through this tunnel of water. I don't know.
You're not getting through me.
Dead on!
Margren's fire casts light in dark places.
Okay, is that everything? Looks like it. Okay, so we are on the bottom of Stormwall Gorge now. We have made it through the ruins at Rhemen, and that will do it for this session. We're just about running out of time, I think, although there was some weirdness with some of the recording there just because of that voice that I kept hearing. I thought maybe I had done something wrong. But anyway, I thank you guys as always for joining me. If you have any questions, comments, those kinds of things, please let me know. I'd love to hear from you, and I hope to see you again for session 42. I'll see you then. Bye.